Now, when we have understood the construction of this magnetic coil galvanometer, let us understand how does it work. So, it is a device whose principle can be understood on the basis of our discussion in section 4.10, that means movement of a coil inside a magnetic field. So, the galvanometer consists of a coil with many turns. So, that we have discussed, free to rotate about fixed axis. What was the fixed axis? The pivotal point, pivot, in a uniform radial magnetic field. So, how is the magnetic field? Uniform and radial. There is a cylindrical soft iron core which not only makes the field radial but also increases the strength of the magnetic field. So, it increases the strength of the magnetic field. So, why we put this iron core? Just to make the field radial and to increase the strength of the magnetic field. That we will learn in the next chapter, how this magnetic field strength is increased. Now, when a current flows through the coil, the torque acts on it. So, we know torque is equal to M cross B. This we know, and this M is equal to simply I A. Area is again a vector quantity. If there are n turns, let it multiply with n, NIA into B. So, if we take only the magnitude, tau is equal to NIA into B. So, this is the magnitude. Now, you would ask, why, where is this sine theta? So, sine theta is 1 because the magnetic field is radial. Since the field is radial by design, we have taken sine theta by equal to 1. So, we have designed in such a way that magnetic field is radial. So, torque is NIA into B. The magnetic torque, this is the magnetic torque NIAB, tend to or try to rotate the coil. This will try to rotate the coil, that you know. Similarly, what we have seen earlier. Now, we have put a spring SP which provides a counter torque, because what will happen in case of torque, it will keep on rotating. But in case of this, we don't want continuous rotation. We want it to stop somewhere where at the value of some current. So, we want it to be stopped somewhere. So, how that force is balanced? That force is balanced by a spring. This spring provides a counter torque. This counter torque is K phi. This counter torque is K phi. Now, the magnetic torque is NIAB. So, both has to be balanced. Both these torques must balanced. So, in balance condition or equilibrium condition, this K phi torque by this spring must be equal to torque by this torque due to this magnetization. So, both these torques must be balanced to each other. So, magnetic torque and this torque by the spring balances each other, where K is the torsional constant of the spring, for the spring, that is restoring torque per unit twist. Now, let us take this phi. What is phi? Phi is called deflection, which is the important quantity that we need. The deflection phi is indicated on the scale by a pointer. So, previously this was here at 0 position. So, this is deflected. What is this deflection? This deflection is phi. So, this phi is simply NIAB upon K. So, NAB upon K in one bracket into I. So, this is the deflection. So, if you see, the quantity in the bracket is a constant for a given galvanometer. So, this N number of turns. So, once we created the galvanometer, this N is constant. The area of the coil, that is also constant, because once the galvanometer is fixed, that is also a constant. This magnetic field B, that is also a constant, and this K for a spring, torsional constant for a spring. So all these things, four things are constant. All these things are constant. So on which thing this deflection or rotation will depend? Rotation will depend only on current. So if current is low, so there will be less rotation. If current is more, there will be more rotation. If further current, more rotation. So in this way we can measure the current. So if current is more, the rotation will be more, rotation or deflection will be more. The galvanometer can be used in a number of ways. So just by seeing this equation, we can see that we can measure current by this galvanometer, moving coil galvanometer, because this number is a constant. This number is a constant. So if there is more current, more deflection. But there are certain problems. Let us see what are those problems. So the galvanometer can be used a number of ways. It can be used as a detector to check if current is flowing in the circuit. First thing is that current is flowing or not. So if this is the central position, if current flows, so it can move in this direction or it can move in this direction. It can move in both the direction. So first thing, if current is moving, it will change its position. So it will change its position. First thing is that. We have come across this usage in Wheatstone bridge arrangement. So in all the experiments we see that if galvanometer is showing 0, that means no current is flowing. So in this usage, the neutral position of the pointer when no current is flowing through the galvanometer is in the middle of the scale. So middle is the neutral position, no current is flowing. Depending on the direction of current, the pointer deflection is either or to the left. So that we understand. So middle position is 0. Depending on the direction of current, position can be right or left. Now let us come to the main point, using it as a current meter, or we call ammeter. The galvanometer cannot as such be used in an ammeter to measure the value of current. So in this form, as it is shown here, we cannot use this galvanometer as ammeter. Ammeter is a device to measure current. So in this form we cannot use as ammeter. Okay. So we cannot use in the given circuit. There are two reasons. So these questions came last year in 1 mark, why we cannot directly use galvanometer as ammeter. Why we cannot use galvanometer as ammeter directly. So there are two reasons. First reason, galvanometer is a very sensitive device. So it is a very sensitive device. It gives a full scale deflection for a current of microampere. So even for a very small current like microampere, the deflection is like this deflection is very high, even for very small current like microampere. So this is the first reason. So this is very sensitive device and it gives microampere current a full rotation. For measuring currents, the galvanometer has to be connected in series. So that you know that ammeter has to be connected in series. But problem is that it has a large resistance. So if the resistance R is very large, then what will happen? If this R is large, then it will measure the current inaccurately. So there are two problems. First, it is a very sensitive device. So even microampere of current gives the full deflection, and second, it has a large resistance, so it cannot measure the current accurately. So these are two problems, so that we cannot use this directly as ammeter. Now what we do to solve this? To overcome these difficulties, one attaches a small resistance Rs. So what we do? A small resistance Rs called shunt resistance. So we attach one resistance which is called shunt resistance. So again, this came in 1 marks, but these applications every year they come for 2 or 3 marks. These applications as like ammeter or voltmeter comes for 2 or 3 marks every year. So this is a very important topic. So we have attached a resistance called shunt resistance. In what type of geometry? In parallel. So we attached a shunt resistance or resistance with very small resistance in parallel with the galvanometer coil. So we have attached a very small resistance in parallel, and this is called shunt resistance. Shunt resistance. Again, you know that the what is the total resistance in parallel? In parallel, this is 1 by Rg, where Rg is the resistance of the galvanometer, plus 1 upon Rs. This is small resistance. Okay. So when you solve, what you get? Rs Rg upon this you get Rg plus Rs. So this you get. When you reverse it, you get Rg Rs upon this is Rp, resistance in parallel. Resistance in parallel is equal to Rg Rs upon Rg plus Rs. Now we have taken this Rs to be very small. That means Rg is very big. Rg is very big. This Rs is very small. So we can neglect this Rs. So let us remove this Rs in comparison to this. So what we have? Rg Rs upon Rg. We have remaining Rg Rs upon Rg. Let us cancel this also. So Rp is equal to Rs. So the total resistance of this arrangement, parallel arrangement, is equal to the smaller resistance.